Thanks for joining us on Weekly Exchange, where we discuss Forex strategy news and the games we are currently enjoying. I'm Warmacblu, joined today by Nasarog. Take it away with Lord of Rigel.
Lord of Rigel is it's being produced by a small indie studio, and this game is basically following the Master of Orion 2 footprint. So if you really want to know more about it, come check it out. A lot of the devs post on our group, and they last week they released the Galaxy Generator. So it's a demo, and basically you can build up your galaxy and see what it looks like, kind of get a feel for it. And if you want to download it, just again come to our group and check it out. It's over there. So now I'd like to switch gears a little bit to another Master of Orion 2. This is a game that's already out, and it's called Horizon. And one of our writers recently reviewed it, so if you want to see what they think of it, you can check it out on our website, explorminate.com. And they released a pretty big patch, or actually, I don't even know what to call it at this point. It's free, but it has a lot of stuff in it, and it brought in a couple of new features. Command points for fleet sizes. It's a logistical thing, so that's good. That's kind of almost like a given now in the space strategy.
Yeah.
It has modding support. I believe 8 new random events. It has a system governor now that's configurable. It has they've upgraded the user interface. They've sped up the game, optimized it, all kinds of balance changes, bug crushing. They've added some enhancements to some new lists for colonies, fleets, planets, button to cycle through idle ships, tactical combat, zoom in and out on your opponent's turn. What else?
Did our reviewer take this into account in his review? I believe he did. He mentioned it at the end.
He had increased his score from the original score.
Okay.
But I think some of what he was concerned with wasn't really addressed, or if it was addressed, it wasn't enough.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's good that the score went up because, I mean, it does look like a decent game, but it wasn't enough to, put it into the really high scores. And I think he dinged them a little bit on the graphics, and I can understand that because I'm also apparently a massive graphics snob.
Right.
So I can't take the high road here because I'm too guilty of it. So anyways, let me keep going with that.
Yeah.
And they did some of the balance changes. They tweaked weapons, like torpedoes and missiles. They're extending the missile range. They tweaked the races. And this is, I think, something that really is important to you, where they start with scouts. I know how connected you are to your scouts.
Oh, yeah. I hate it when you don't start with scouts.
I've seen you have a meltdown because a scout got taken out. So I think this really applies to you.
Yeah.
Terraforming planets. Now the cost of terraforming is based on the size of the planet. All kinds of special bonuses on planets. And then they have fixes and balancing and all kinds of good stuff. So I think they're definitely on the right road. So that's the Horizon update.
Yeah, and again, the review is on our website.
Yeah, explorminate.com.
Okay, so continuing with the space theme, I'm gonna talk about the update for Star Ruler 2. It's a pretty big update, but I'm only gonna mention the three, I guess, bullet points, the three major bullet points. And the first one would be the research overhaul. And you commented on it in the video, and it's basically a grid-like system, and I think it works very well. I haven't had much time with it, so I can't say much about that. I do know, however, the Let's Play that I'm doing with Star Ruler 2.
Right.
I did test out my save game, and it does work with the new update. So,
well, that's good. I always hate when they do updates or patches and then it invalidates an earlier save. So it's good that it works.
Right. So going forward, I'll be getting more experience with the research. And they also introduced a new map, a galaxy map called the Expanse. And the main feature is that players are located between a Remnant homeworld, and Remnant are basically the AI pirates, for example. So you're
Like that big red fleet, the
that's a
dread
dread
pirate
pirate.
from the Let's Play.
No, the Remnant are kind of like an ancient species that are left over.
Gotcha.
So they don't really attack you. They're kind of just there until you encounter them. So the new map, players are located between the Remnant homeworld and a vast expanse of uncharted space. Those are their words. So they're basically saying you have to defeat strong Remnant fleets in order to colonize new systems. So it kind of makes for an interesting change of pace.
I saw I guess they have a screen grab.
Yeah.
You could see like where the different starting points are, and you have these fleets that are protecting the system. So as you move along, you have to defeat the fleet to get access to the system, and then you can see what's past them, what other systems are there. So that was really cool. I like that.
Yeah. And the last thing is just graphical improvements. So this is something you'll like. I think they did include more bitmaps images for the planets. Planets can now some planets now have rings, so kind of like Saturn in our star system.
Well, not just Saturn. We have some multiple planets of rings in our star system.
Just Saturn comes to mind. And
Gas giant.
yeah. And they've also improved some of the aesthetics on the stars. I guess that ties in with what I was saying before. There's also a complete changelog on the Steam community group. And I tried to look on their website, and I couldn't find it. I even tried to search the forums. So I'll be posting screenshots as we're talking.
Okay.
But you can also check it out on the Steam group.
Well, I saw it popped up on my bulletin board or activity, I guess, or whatever, as an announcement. Like, I don't know, it was Wednesday, Thursday.
Right.
So,
okay. Well, switching from space to fantasy, I think the rest of the news is fantasy-ish.
yeah, mostly.
Yeah. Age of Wonders 3, they again on Friday, it's like clockwork. Every Friday they release a little something. So they released another dev journal talking about 2 more units for the Necromancer. And one of them is the tier 4 unit, and the other one is they don't say what tier it is, but it looks like it's a support unit.
or is that the one with the skeleton trying to rip its head off with the spine?
Yeah, he
That was
does.
pretty cool.
Yeah, he does some sort of screaming attack that'll reduce the morale of your units, and they say that they want to try and animate it so he pulls his skull off, and that would be morale. That would definitely lower my morale if I saw someone do that during a battle.
They should do it like the haka, from the rugby teams and whatever teams are, whatever sports are coming from, like New Zealand and whatnot.
Right.
Their tribal chant, where they try to, with the warrior stance, and they're intimidating their opponents. They should have, instead of one character, they should have like a whole unit of these skeletons doing it. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. And the last, I guess the tier 4 Necromancer unit, they call him the Dread Reaper.
Mm-hmm.
And he has an energy drain attack, and he has his ultimate attack. It's called Invoke Death. And it basically, you cast it on a unit, and if they don't resist it, then they die instantly.
Nice. Insta kill.
Insta kill. The only thing is it's very close range, so you can take it out with what's it called? Ranged attacks. And they also mention that to counter some of these very powerful undead units, most of the specializations are going to include anti-undead stuff.
What do you mean specializations?
So remember how you can have fire specialization or water?
You mean like the water, the air, the earth, the elemental stuff.
Right. So they'll probably include some sort of anti-undead, maybe. If I can find it real fast, I can't remember exactly where they said it.
Well, it's okay. Something to talk about next time.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure there might be another update next time. So.
Well, since I want to stay on this for one more second and just let our listeners know and our group members know that we're going to be interviewing lead developer from Triumph Studios. this week. So please, there's an open thread. If you have any questions, just please put them in there, because I would hate to conduct an interview and then later find out, oh, I had this awesome question. Well, if you have an awesome question, let us know what it is so we can ask it on your behalf.
Right.
And moving on from that, um, last week we did a whole big thing about Sorcerer King, and this week patch 1.8 came out and just bear with me. I'm not sure even what to call the game anymore, so I just call it Elemental, Fallen Enchantress, Legendary Heroes.
Okay.
I don't even know what they want to call it anymore. So, whatever, Legendary Heroes, and they have, they're releasing a couple of features. They're working on the monsters, and instead of always having this, like on the monster layers, instead of always having the same monsters, they'll have different combinations of monsters. They added a Baron Witch unit. They added a Gildan Lion, so that's pretty cool. Obsidian Legion, Malayan Devilman, Darkling Overseer. Then they added the Coal Golem, then a couple of little balance things. So they're definitely, while they're developing all the other products, they're still adding new stuff to their older games, which is nice. And they also have a DLC, but yeah, they have so many DLCs. It's just like I can't even keep track of them.
Yeah.
And then let me see what else we have.
I know Devil Dog's excited about that.
Well, I know he's excited about Sorcerer King. I don't know if he's excited about Legendary Heroes. I think he's moved on from Legendary Heroes. But anyways, so also Worlds of Magic, which looks a lot like the original Elemental release. Maybe not as fine, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to really put a finger on it. They're still developing it. It's still early enough when they can do stuff with it, but it's just, I don't know. I'm not seeing a whole lot of interest, which is kind of sad because it looks like it's potentially an interesting game. So they also released a pretty big patch and a lot of fixes, lots and lots of fixes, tweaks. They added more spells. They added custom tile values for each race, so now they're differentiating the races. They added a zombie, earth elemental, air elemental, instant casting and crafting, all kinds of spell casting possibilities for the world map and for the combat. Then they've been optimizing it for performance, so that's good. It's always right. Good when the game speeds up. And last but not least, the creme de la creme is that Amplitude is releasing information about their soon-to-be add-ons, and there's two, like what we had said previously from our podcast. And you have Endless Legend, and in Endless Legend you have Visions of the Unseen. So this is kind of cool. I mean, I have no idea what's all going to be in this because it looks pretty big. But so far they're releasing that they had told us before that they had a lot of text for Diplomat, like the flavor text, but they couldn't implement it. Well, guess what? They're implementing it.
Right.
So this one is going to have a lot of flavor text. This one, they also have for the weapons, like weapons effects. And I'm pretty sure that there's going to be all kinds of good stuff to do with the AI and whatever else is on it. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed. And finally, Endless Space, and this is good. This is going to be really good. 20 new heroes.
Jeez.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And now you can create, not only can you create a custom faction, but you can actually let the AI play your custom faction. And it appears to be an ability for you, or a pathway for you to import your own lead figureheads. And since they're not animated in Endless Space, you have one here of a pug. I'll give you one. You might not know this, but one of the developers, Stephanie, she's very much into pugs, and she wants pugs and everything. So there's a pug faction here. And I don't exactly know everything that's going to be in it, but from our interview, we also know that this new add-on is going to have planetary events. It's going to have possibly a tweak on the retreat system. It might have...
Oh, please.
I know, right?
We can get into that in a minute.
I think now is a good time to transition into that. So what have you been playing lately?
Okay, so I did end up getting my hands on a copy of Endless Legend, and I played about 5 hours. But I've really been focusing on Endless Space, mainly because we are doing we're doing the giveaway on Monday,
right?
And I'll be streaming that. We'll get to that in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, you can mention it right now if you want. It's an appropriate time.
Yeah, we are going to do a live stream on Monday, and I will be playing Endless Space with you in the chat with me,
Right.
and at the end of that, we'll be giving away Emperor Edition.
Yes.
Yeah, Emperor Edition of Endless Space. So, anyways, I've been playing a bunch of Endless Space, maybe double, so 10 hours maybe this week,
Okay.
and I do not like the retreat system. Once you go through a wormhole, if there's an enemy homeworld right there,
Right.
and you explore it, or you I guess reveal it, you can't run away. They automatically, attack you, and it's really hard to retreat sometimes. Sometimes you even end up losing the scout unit and your hero.
And I know how devastated you are with the scout.
Oh my god! And then my hero is 100% damaged. I just quit right there. No, I
Are you
don't.
serious?
No, I don't. But I have been having a little bit of trouble with the game, and I think it's because,
It has a steep learning curve, but it's not a hard game. Once you get a feel for it, once you start figuring it out,
right.
it starts. For example, I don't know if you have any. Do you play with the pirates on or off?
I think I play with them on, and have not encountered them. So,
Okay. Well, the trick with pirates is any system that you explore potentially can become a pirate haven after you explore it. So if you want to minimize, because the pirates can be pretty troublesome, if you want to minimize your encounters with pirates when you're exploring systems, don't just it's like what Devil Dog was doing when he was playing Dungeon of the Endless. Don't do that. Don't rush and open every imaginable door, because unless you're prepared, the surprise that comes at you might not be a pleasant one.
right.
So
You'll be able to see what I'm doing on Monday, so that'll give me you'll be like my mentor. But what I've been doing recently is I've been playing that circular galaxy map.
right, the ring.
Yeah, the ring. I like that map. And I think 3 AI, including myself, on various difficulties.
Which AI?
Random.
Uh-huh.
They are random. I think I've had 3 different games. I was the United Federation. I was the Hisso. Is that how you pronounce it?
Hisho.
Hisho. And Sheridan. Oh, actually, and also the Pilgrims.
So the Sheridan are a little bit broken. They have a thing where they have an honor thing, and if they break it, then they take.
Right, I
If
saw
they make,
that.
if they make an agreement and they break it, then they take all kinds of penalties. But if somebody breaks an agreement with them, they also take penalties. So that's kind of crap. I hope they fix that.
Right. Well, let's just say I haven't even gotten to agreements because as soon as I go through a wormhole, I guess I'm so weak that the AI just declares war on me a few turns afterwards, and
Well,
they
here's
come
a
in.
question for you.
Yeah.
Do you go through the wormhole as fast as possible, or do you first? Well, here's the thing. If you're playing in a ring galaxy, I might suggest for you to try to play a galaxy with multiple arms.
Right.
So play as many arms as there are factions, so each one of you gets an arm. And
okay.
before you go through the wormhole, you can pretty much settle your whole arm and kind of build up your economy, build up your military, build up everything before you venture out.
Right.
Because once you reach the center of the body of the galaxy, the center, I mean, it's usually open warfare.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'll try a different map. It could be.
I mean, on your ring map, do you have wormholes at either edge of your territory?
Yeah.
So you should. So I mean, you should still. I mean, I wouldn't venture out of the wormholes until you pretty much have your system, your planets that the vicinity around the vicinity of your home planet either locked down or blocked off with colonies on the outside. So once you actually venture out, those outposts become colonies, and then nobody can really go in there. Do you see what I'm saying? You kind of create almost a bottleneck, at least until the next hyperdrive technology gets discovered, where you can just travel from star to star.
Right. So I don't. Maybe you can answer this question, and
Sure, I can try.
yeah. What's been happening is AI have been traveling through my system, and I do have colonies because I do see that influence.
Uh-huh.
And this is pretty early in the game, usually right after I unlock wormhole technology. I doubt
Right.
they're further than me. I doubt they're to the, what's it called, the other one. that allows you to travel through stars.
No, it's what happens is that if you, let's say your scout is exploring a system, right?
Right.
And all you see is a star. You don't know what's going on there. The moment your scout enters the star system, you have only a couple of options. If the system is occupied and there's an actual colony there, then now you're officially in Cold War status.
Right.
But if there's a way out of that colony, meaning there's another system past it, you can actually move. Even though you're in their territory, you can keep moving as long as there's an unexplored system. That's how they're moving through your territory.
Okay.
And usually what the AI does is they do it with a scout. They don't do it with a war fleet.
Right.
So they have 1 scout, 2 scouts, 9 scouts, however many scouts they have, just moving around and exploring systems. That's why I say before, at least personally, I mean, it might be a little bit of a turtling mechanism that I use, but it works, is that I have my core system on lockdown, not just my home planet, my home system, but everything around it. And then I move out from there. Once that happens, then I don't care anymore. Then I'll just jump wherever. And if I see some choice system, I'll go grab it. Right. But it really also depends on the type of victory condition you're going for.
Yeah.
So in Endless Legend, as ubiquitous as it might seem, it's even more so in Endless Space. Like from game to game, like the values change. So in one game, if you're going for economic and you need, 450,000 dust, the next game it's like 600,000. It's like, wait, what? Right. It's not very clear. And this is another thing that people have been saying for years, make that stuff more clear, and we'll see. But that's really it. I mean, what you can always do is you can minimize the victory conditions and have it where it's an expansion where you control something like 75% of the systems, or you can have it where it's domination, where you take out all the capitals.
Right.
And then there's one more that's military where it's extermination, where you pretty much wipe them all out. But that's kind of weird because if you wipe them all out, usually you'll dominate them before you wipe them out, unless it's the same turn or something.
Right, right.
But
we'll see. I'll be playing probably that a bit more than Endless Legend, and I'll probably taper off after the live stream.
That's fine. Listen, another thing. So actually, the United Empires is a really good starting faction.
Okay.
Because they get some really good bonuses.
Okay.
So it's just, I think what you need to do to improve your game is you need to settle the right planets. If you settle planets that give you too much of a penalty to happiness, then you're slowing down your whole economy.
Yeah, definitely.
Not system, but like game-wise. So you don't want to just spread out like boom, 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 immediately spread to as many as possible. You can take your time a little bit, especially if you're playing on the lower difficulties.
Yeah.
So actually, it's good that we're talking about Endless Space because that's also a game that I've been playing. And the reason I'm playing it is because I got after meeting the challenge for Endless Legend by Iceman. He's like, wait, you haven't beaten Endless Space on all the difficulties. How come? So now I'm beating Endless Space.
You're gonna try that, yeah?
No, I've done it. It's just I usually play with all victory conditions on.
Right.
The way I play, I'll lose to an AI because they have so many bonuses on Endless.
Okay.
But if I turn off some of them, then I just wipe the floor with them, which is pretty much what's going to happen in my current playthrough. And then a little update on Warlocks. So they released a patch. I think it was yesterday. And apparently it fixed the crash to desktop bug that was happening because of the quests.
Right.
So even if you have a quest that's unfinished from save to save, it will not crash your game. But at least for me, maybe I'm doing it wrong, I don't know. I'm trying to activate the gates between the portals. I mean the portal gates between the shards, and within the exiled mode you have to have there's some kind of a guardian and there's a quest. So if you're going to the drummer world, you're fighting drummer warriors. If you're going to some other world, I don't even know what it is. There's evil hounds of hell, so probably undead world or something. And I kill him, and it won't open. And I try every possible choice, do this or do that. I've done every combination, and I still can't open it. Even if I kill him, it says, you have failed this quest. And it's like, shit, what am I supposed to do? So, I don't know. I kind of complain a little bit on the Steam boards, and we'll see what happens.
Right, right.
At this point, I'm so frustrated with the game, and as much as I love Warlock 1, I'm very frustrated that like all the problems from Warlock 1 moved on to 2, like not like nothing, like it's not even a real sequel, you know? So
Right.
I don't know. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I think we should wrap it up soon. Do you have any
Um,
closing remarks? We have the you want to talk about the live stream?
yeah, so we actually have two live streams this week. We have the one for the giveaway on Monday, which is I believe going to be, I think at 8 o'clock Eastern time, and it's going to be about an hour, and it's going to be like the other two where come join, hang out, make fun, whatever, you know,
Right.
keep it civil. And at some point, I'm going to do a snapshot of whoever of all the people that are in the chat, and then pick a winner from that by randomnumbergenerator.org or com or whatever they're.
That'll be a good time.
And then the second one is on Tuesday. Devil Dog is going to have Zero over, and they're going to stream another, I guess, episode of Star Drive 2 with apparently some new stuff that Zero had implemented.
Yeah, and they're gonna start mid game.
Yeah, so it's going to be further along. It's not going to be like, you know, early game, the lobsters got you.
Right. Now, I just noticed that this episode of Weekly Exchange will be coming out on Wednesday, so it'll be coming out after these live streams.
Oh.
But hopefully you tuned
Sorry,
into
guys.
those. Yeah, hopefully you tuned
Well,
into those.
yeah. Hopefully it was a good live stream. We didn't embarrass ourselves too much.
Yeah.
But I'll have the announcements up on the in the group and whatnot, so we'll bump it up. We'll make sure people know about it. And I mean, it's not like we haven't talked about it. And then finally on Wednesday, we're also going to be interviewing a developer from Triumph. So
Right.
uh,
Yeah.
back in time. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's all I have. I'll see. Well, I was gonna.
I have one
Yeah.
more.
Okay.
I have one more. We're setting up an interview with John Schaefer,
That's right.
who's at the gates, and this is after this weekly exchange comes out. So, guys, there's also a thread for that. Please jump in there if you have any questions. Ask him. You know, at worst, we'll say no.
Right.
We'd like it, and at best, we'll use your question. Make sure John knows who it came from. So, if he has any complaints, he'll come find you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for today, and that's it. So, this has been Explore Mate's Weekly Exchange. We'll talk to you again soon.